Coming up.
Talk about chalk and cheese.
I don't want to sound like that.
Each their own, love.
Terrifying tortoise.
How is that possible?
I'm just relieved to have found a kindred spirit.
So not enough sound coming out of your nose when you do have a cold, and there's nothing you can do about that at all.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
You know, it is our instrument, isn't it, really? And we do play it to the best of our ability.
Oh, that really triggers me.
The wildcard generator.
Vive la différence, as they say.
And now, enjoy the podcast. How do you say that?
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 Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That, sponsored by britishvoiceover.co.uk. It's the show dedicated to anyone who's ever had to read a script out loud in front of a microphone. And here is my co-host, Mark Rice.
Hello.
Hello. Now, his fun fact is that he doesn't drink tea, and he never has and he never will.
No, tastes like dishwater. Blech. Horrid. I tried those fruit teas once because they smelt nice, still tasted like dishwater. So I kind of have hot squash instead, and that's nice instead.
That's good. I mean, I like the fruit teas personally, but, you know, I like a bit of lemon and ginger, me.
Well, so each to their own, Sam.
Each to their own, love. All right, yeah.
My co-host is Sam Boffin, and when I say each to their own, listen to this fun fact. She currently has, and this ruins my OCD, and it will for you at home, I'm sure, as well. She currently has 65,660 unread emails on her phone. How is that possible?
And actually, since I wrote that, and that was this morning, I now have 65,739
What if there's something important?
They're not. They're not. Honestly, they're not. I can read the first few lines, and I can see they're not.
Oh, that really triggers me. Well,
Yeah.
of course, we also have a special guest, and this week it's voiceover and voice therapist Karen Esposito. Hello, Karen. Welcome to How Do You Say That?
Hello, everyone. Hi. Sorry, you interrupted me. I was just having a sip of tea.
Oh, excellent. So
Completely disagree with you there.
does the email thing trigger you?
The email thing, it doesn't, because I'm the same.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
my.
Sorry. It's my
Pleased.
guilty secret, but obviously not anymore because everybody knows.
Oh,
Yes,
my
exactly.
word. Well,
You can see the important ones. You just...
delete the ones that aren't important then.
But you might one day need them.
Right, let's find out more about Karen then, shall we?
So Karen is a voiceover artist, a vocal coach, and a voice therapist based in a village called Stony Middleton in the Peak District. Famous for rock climbing caves and Tom Cruise chucking a train from the top of its quarry to film a scene in the latest Mission Impossible
Oh,
movie.
nice.
Amazing.
He did.
That's so impressive. Karen is a qualified speech and language therapist who works for the NHS. I find that so impressive.
Yes.
And spends part of her week running busy specialist clinics for voice and respiratory disorders.
Well, we shall talk a little bit more about that later in the show, but Karen has also travelled internationally as a singer and saxophonist and still likes a good warble, I'm told. In her spare time, she loves a bit of metal bashing, or silversmithing as it's known, and roaming the hills with her border collie Nell. Her lifelong fascination, however, is the human voice. So, Karen, do you have a fun fact for us?
Oh, I do. And this one was inspired by Katie Fleming. When I was listening to the podcast the other day with her
Lovely,
London
Katie.
Zoo overnight stays.
Yeah.
My sister used to be a zookeeper for great apes.
Oh, wow.
Really exciting. So she used to look after the gorillas and the orangutans, and we used to be able to go behind the scenes and give them a drink from a jug and feed them. But yeah, one day she took us into the reptile enclosure, and there was a 100-year-old great tortoise giant tortoise called Darwin.
Nice.
And he took a disliking to me, but unbeknownst to me. So by the time I noticed, he had pinned me up against the corner and rammed my shins until they bled.
Oh, my God.
No.
And it must have happened in very slow motion, and I didn't catch on quick enough. It was one of those things that you can see happening very slowly.
Wow. And you suddenly realised you were cornered by him.
I was cornered by him.
That's incredible.
I know.
Well, on that zoological note, let's have a look at our first script of the show and ask, how do you say that? Play How Do You Say That?
I looked at your gorgeous script, Karen, and I thought, how do I counterpoint that?
Yes.
And so I've got something that's a direct contrast to yours. So this is quite an ordinary script, actually, and it's for an education company.
Is it like e-learning?
Kind of e-learning.
It looks lighter than a standard e-learning script.
Yes, and I suppose what's important about this is it is for people whose first language is not English.
Ah, now that's really, really important.
Yes.
Because I think we've all done English as a second language pieces, and it does mean that they're a little bit slower and a little bit more clear, shall we say. So less colloquialism.
This is definitely for foreign students who are learning English.
I was going to ask, how about contractions? But I'm going to take that question back because actually English as a second language, you don't really want contractions because you're trying to make it as clear as possible.
I think it's tricky doing it because I think it's tricky because there is a tendency you don't want to sound patronising and you don't want to so that you've got that sort of fine line. Between, not sounding too colloquial.
I once went for an audition in central Soho for an English as a second language piece, and they got me to do it. Then they got me to do it slower. Then they got me to do it even slower than that. And then again to run even slower than that, which was so difficult. It was unbelievably difficult. I didn't get the job.
Wow. It must feel really strange. Going that.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I went in quite slow anyway.
I think speed's a really difficult one, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
To monitor yourself. It's like I don't want to blame drummers for getting out of time, but you become your own internal drummer, don't you? If you're not careful, you run away with it, especially if you're getting into a script. You haven't got that metronome going on there. It's hard to go slower.
It is.
Well, I'll give it a go. Let's see where we go with it. Welcome to Pacific London. In this presentation, we will discuss the government student schemes available to European citizens, the educational programmes, the eligibility conditions, and the funds that can be obtained from the government. First of all, who are we? Pacific London is a UK-based student education and consulting agency. Our mission is to provide support in choosing the right course, help with completing the registration process and obtaining funds for studies, and support for during studies.
That was slower than I would have gone.
Oh, really?
Interestingly.
I went too far the other way.
You could have been friendlier.
Okay.
I was thinking that it was textbook e-learning because I could picture the photos and the videos that were going past. I could picture them, and it was very clear and very concise.
Now you get a go, Karen.
Woohoo!
Okay. Welcome to Pacific London. In this presentation, we will discuss the government student schemes available to European citizens, the educational programmes, the eligibility conditions, and the funds that can be obtained from the government. First of all, who are we? Pacific London is a UK-based student education and consulting agency. Our mission is to provide support in choosing the right course, help with completing the registration process and obtaining funds for studies, and support for during studies.
You've got a really, really lovely softness to your voice, Karen, which I really love. But it makes it very, very accessible, Sam, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I thought that was a beautiful read. It was absolutely the right pace and the right warmth. I really loved that, actually.
Was it okay? Not too friendly, not too...
Oh, no.
Not at all, I don't think. No, absolutely not. No, a lovely smile.
Post-Brexit, you really went into the word European as well, which I thought was quite funny.
I want to be European.
Hey, let's not go there. Let's
not
do it.
It's dangerous.
We'll be there all day. This will be a 4-hour-long podcast. No, let's not do that.
No.
So the pace slightly up there, Sam.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think you've got to keep a little bit of energy there. Yeah, I think that kind of pace gives it a nice amount of energy and friendliness.
Absolutely. Let's see how friendly you did it then, Sam, shall we?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Pacific London. In this presentation, we will discuss the government student schemes available to European citizens, the educational programmes, the eligibility conditions, and the funds that can be obtained from the government. First of all, who are we? Pacific London is a UK-based student education and consulting agency. Our mission is to provide support in choosing the right course, help with completing the registration process and obtaining funds for studies, and support for during studies.
I see what you mean about the pace, absolutely. Were you smiling through that? Because you've said before, when you do really, really kind of quite dull stuff, that you need to smile, otherwise it sounds funereal.
It sounded smiley.
Yes, it did.
I did have a smile, yeah. And I suppose, I tried to give it a bit of a bounce, but...
bounce is a good word. Yes, absolutely there was bounce.
I love that. I love that because it was smiley. It was coming towards you. Very important for somebody's life to know this information, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
And I think they are, as a company, they're sort of there supporting you, holding your hand, making sure everything's okay. So I think that it needs to have that feel about it.
I wonder how quickly I would have gone if you hadn't said it was English as a second language piece.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have gone a lot quicker, a lot bouncier.
Interesting.
So I think I went the other way.
How do you say that?
It's worthwhile remembering that these are real scripts we've been working on, but we've changed names and some details to avoid copyright issues. So, from that script to Karen's script, couldn't really be more different, Karen, could it?
Yes, this I loved reading this script. Actually, it was very evocative. It conjures up all sorts of images in your mind, and it goes down deeper than you originally.
Who's it for?
Yeah, it was a promo for. It was actually a Danish. TV competition.
Like a reality show.
Like a reality show, but it was all about diving deep below, but it was also exploring the celebrities' lives as well and a bit of introspection.
Oh, wow. It doesn't look like it's been translated, is all I'm thinking. It looks like it's written quite well.
It's not bad. I think I did make a couple of alterations for the initial one as well, but not many at all.
And so were you doing this to picture?
I wasn't. No, it was all from imagination. It was self-directed. They wanted 2 different reads. So they said 2 different versions. But they wanted me to match a dramatic and epic tone. And they sent me a link.
That's what I wondered, yeah.
Yeah. And they sent me a link.
They sent you the...
to, what was it now? It was an advert for oat milk.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
No, not at all. It was a very dramatic oat milk advert in Danish. So I had to sort of translate what she was doing in the oat milk advert onto the diving programme.
Okay.
It helped that it was in Danish, actually, and not in English, because it was just the tone that you could listen to, like music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that really helps for me, thinking of it in a musical way.
Sam, I think you get to go first on this.
I do. And I just wanted to say I love the way that you were talking about music there. We've spoken about music before in this podcast. And I love the fact that you could hear the musicality in the Danish version of the advert, because I think that's so important to be able to tune into the rhythm of something. That I would imagine that helped a huge amount, actually.
Oh, for me, music and voice are the same thing.
Yeah.
It is our instrument, isn't it, really? And we do play it to the best of our ability. And it's
absolutely.
That the complexities of the messages that we put across with our voices are the same as when I'm listening to a piece of music. So for me, it's the same.
Right, so. The very first thing you did when you were born into this world was to take a deep breath. Living your life, breath by breath, takes you as many places as the wind blows. 8 celebrities are about to experience the adventure of a lifetime. 10 days of challenging and exciting dives lie ahead of them, which will push them to their limits. Deeper down, into the unknown, danger lurks. Seeing the wonders below the surface, remaining calm, trusting yourself, trusting the diver next to you. All of them have been let down before in their lives. Now they will have to trust again to make it through. Are you able to let go, to be free?
I love that, Sam. You put a real mysterious tone onto that, I thought.
Maybe. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about the way I did that last sentence. Anyway, but yeah, really interesting, because actually once you begin... And I'd never said that out loud before, as you know. Always happens with me. Once you begin reading it through and saying it out loud, you realise the different elements in it, actually.
There are so many, aren't there? In
Yes.
this?
many,
so
isn't
many
it?
in this.
But
Yeah.
I wondered if
Yeah.
it needed to be harder. You know a lot about TV promos just from the world of work that you've done before.
Maybe.
It feels like it needs to go a bit harder.
Yeah, you might well be right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really does depend on the music. I was sort of thinking of a sort of discovery type.
Isn't it interesting, though, now, how did it feel as you were going along? Because all of a sudden you're talking about something quite ethereal, and then all of a sudden, danger's here.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
stay calm. Can you trust everybody? So there are potentially so many twists and turns, aren't there?
Actually, that's true. That I didn't do that line well. You're right. Deeper down into the unknown, danger lurks. See, yes, yeah, I can kind of see. I could have sped up at different times. There's a lot more to that.
Your danger lurks was gorgeous, though. The way you hit the danger lurks, it turned dark all of a sudden. It was
yes,
great.
you're right. Yeah. Mysterious went to dark. Yes, absolutely. No, I agree.
It's funny, you do these things through, and without wanting to sound poncy about it,
Go on, sound poncy about it.
Go on.
you actually can't remember what you've done. Yeah. You sort of do it,
Yeah.
and then you think, well, what did I just do there?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's your turn, Mark.
See, I'm quite looking forward to this. I think this is a bit
Yeah.
harder. I think this plays to my wheelhouse a little bit stronger. But let's have a look. The very first thing you did when you were born into this world was to take a deep breath. Living your life breath by breath takes you as many places as the wind blows. 8 celebrities are about to experience the adventure of a lifetime. 10 days of challenging and exciting dives lie ahead of them, which will push them to their limits. Deeper down, into the unknown, danger lurks. Seeing the wonders below the surface, remaining calm, trusting yourself, trusting the diver next to you. All of them have been let down before in their lives. Now they will have to trust again to make it through. Are you able to let go? To be free?
Talk about chalk and cheese.
You went full on promo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know, and deliberately.
Yeah, I've never ever done a promo like that.
It doesn't surprise me. Whereas I've done lots of promos like that.
Vive la différence, as they say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it wouldn't have dawned on me to do that.
Yeah.
What's the interesting thing about this is I have no idea what it was. I will only know, Karen, when you do it, what it
Yes.
was, how it was meant to be.
And it doesn't help when they say to you, be dramatic and epic. And then what they said to me is, with the tagline at the end, can you do one of them and whisper the tagline at the end?
Oh, yes. You see, I can see that. I can see that now.
I can imagine them asking for different things.
I actually
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that would have worked for both of us, Sam. If we'd whispered the final line, I think we would have done that.
Whispering is incredibly difficult.
Yes.
Though, incredibly
Yes.
difficult.
Go on then, Karen. So we've
Okay.
got the various bits of direction that you were given. I'm fascinated to hear what you did with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The very first thing you did when you were born into this world was to take a deep breath. Living your life breath by breath takes you as many places as the wind blows. 8 celebrities are about to experience the adventure of a lifetime. 10 days of challenging and exciting dives lie ahead of them, which will push them to their limits. Deeper down, into the unknown, danger lurks. Seeing the wonders below the surface, remaining calm. Trusting yourself, trusting the diver next to you. All of them have been let down before in their lives. Now they will have to trust again to make it through. Are you able to let go? To be free?
Very nice.
Yeah. And very different again.
Really lovely.
Yeah, I really wanted to whisper the name.
I'll tell you what you did that we didn't do is you actually got about 4 different styles in there.
Yeah.
So the first
Yeah,
2
yeah.
lines are one style, 8 celebrities are a different, 10 days of challenging is
that's
different, and deeper down into
absolutely.
the unknown, all different styles. And I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
that was very clever, actually.
That was a mix of the 2 different versions I did in the end.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they took bits from each one, interestingly enough.
It's a promo script that goes into a lot of different areas, actually.
Yep.
It almost hypnotises you, doesn't it? It hypnotises you
Yeah.
and then gives you a jump scare.
You
And
see,
then
I'm
comes
wondering if
back.
those first 2 lines are very... They started the promo very Nat Geo style, and there's pictures of water there and breath and everything else. And
Yeah.
then it kind of cuts into I'm a Celebrity style promo after that.
Very much so. It's almost as if there's a line drawn underneath there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So taking you as many places as the wind blows. And your mind's just wandering somewhere, isn't it? And then all of a sudden, back down to earth with 8 celebrities. No cockroaches.
Well, I tell you what, let's shake it all up. Let's go for the wildcard section and have some fun and have some more fun with these scripts because we've been having fun with it already.
And of course, we've now got the wildcard generator.
So
which we love.
exciting. And terrifying at the same time, I have to say. The tortoise is back in the room. Terrifying tortoise.
She's backed up against the wall. I think I go. Do I go first on this one? I think I do, Mark. I think you need to spin the generator.
Okay, all right.
And pick something for me.
Okie dokie. All right, well, I will spin the wheel.
Crikey.
Good Lord.
Oh,
Crumbs.
my word. You're going to hate this, Sam. You're going to hate this.
Oh, Lord.
It has
Really,
come
really?
up with Mad Professor. It's like,
crumbs. Okay.
Okay. So, but which script?
Which script are you going to give
I'm
me?
going to give you the first script, so Pacific London, but as Mad Professor. So
Mad
completely the
Professor.
opposite way than you were doing it before, I think.
Okay. I think, vaguely. I haven't thought of anything, actually. I'm just kind of going to go for it. Okay. Welcome to Pacific London. In this presentation, we will discuss the government student schemes available to European citizens, the educational programmes, the eligibility conditions, and the funds that can be obtained from the government. First of all, who are we? Well, Pacific London is a UK-based student education and consulting agency. Our mission is to provide support in choosing the right course, help with completing the registration process, obtaining funds for studies, and support for during studies.
I like that. Do you know what I could see? I could absolutely see that. For me, that was a cartoon Mad Professor.
God,
And someone quite tiny with a long pointy stick.
Yes.
And little glasses. Little
Yes,
glasses like
little
Harry
glasses, yeah.
Potter.
Definitely cartoonish.
But it
I'll
was
agree
quite
with that.
rounded in that
No.
respect.
It was. You didn't breathe. It was brilliant the way you sort of just went from one to the other, up and down, as if how a mad professor would not listen at all.
Yeah, very much so. I think there was a lovely characterisation there.
Brilliant,
God,
brilliant.
Not my area of expertise.
Not one that you feel comfortable with. No, but then
Sounds fantastic.
that's what the wildcard's all about, though, isn't it? To be fair.
So, Karen, you are going to pick a lovely wild card to give to Mark.
Yeah.
And then we'll be
then
able
we'll
to
put
add
it in the wildcard generator.
Yes, we can add it to the generator afterwards. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, the power.
Yes,
The
quite.
responsibility.
La la la.
Well, thinking about, we were talking about breathing, weren't we? So maybe something that's going to challenge the coordination of your breathing. So I want you to do script number 2 in the style of someone who is saying goodbye to someone at a train station. They're in the train, you're on the station, and the train is pulling away, and you start telling them what they need to know, and they have to know all of the
But you're
script before
running
the
out of
train.
That's
yes.
so good.
You're running out of time.
That is quite clever. All right. Yeah. Okay. The very first thing you did when you were born into this world was take a deep breath. Living your life breath by breath that takes you as many places as get a seat, as many places as the wind blows. 8 celebrities are about to experience the adventure of a lifetime. 10 days of challenging and exciting dives lie ahead of them, which will push them to their limits. Deeper down into the unknown. Danger lurks. Seeing the wonders below the surface. Remaining calm. Trusting yourself. Trusting the diver next to you. All of them have been let down before in their lives. Now they'll have to trust again to make it through. Are you able to let go? To be free?
I love you.
Lovely. Look at you. You were practically on the end of the platform by then, weren't you, mate?
I was almost running off it.
Almost onto the rails or whatever it is. That was so good.
That was brilliant.
There was a bit where they were getting a seat and a bit where they came back to
Yeah.
the window.
Yeah.
And then the train sped up.
You could see it all,
Oh, my
couldn't you?
heart's breaking. It's horrible. How
I
does
know.
the story end?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's
Dot, to be continued.
Wow. I quite enjoyed that in the end.
Oh,
Oh, it was good. It's really good. It's nice. It's actually really nice when you have a wild card that has action in it.
Yes.
yes.
Because you play the action, don't you?
Yes,
as
exactly.
as well as the character, which I
Yes, because
really,
it's less about the words.
really
then.
like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also gives you a focus. It's really nice. So,
Of course, Karen, you don't get away with it.
No, because I'm going to spin the wildcard generator.
Ooh.
So, this is a really good one, actually. This is a lazy person who hates exercise.
Oh, good one.
I can identify.
There you go.
Ooh, which script though, Sam?
Oh, script 2. 2. Script 2.
Nice.
The very first thing you did when you were born into this world was to take a deep breath. Living your life breath by breath takes you as many places as the wind blows. 8 celebrities are about to experience the adventure of a lifetime. 10 days of challenging and exciting dives lay ahead of them, which will push them to their limits. Deeper down into the unknown, danger lurks, blah, blah, blah. Seeing the wonders below the surface, remaining calm. Trusting yourself, trusting the diver next to you, or not bothering at all. All of them having been let down before in their lives. Now they will have to trust again to make it through. Are you able to let go? Oh, yeah. To be free.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, so
I love the addition of
the
the blah, blah, blah.
It's the blah, blah, it's the yawning, the whole
So good.
general fatigue.
Brilliant.
General fatigue.
General fatigue, yes.
I've got lots of that to draw on, as have most of us these days.
Love it. That was very clever. Cleverly done.
Well, thank you. That was so much fun.
So much fun.
I want to come and play with you again. That was brilliant.
For everyone out there, the scripts are in the show notes, so why not? You can have a go for fun in the comfort of your own booth. It is fun. It is fun to do. And you can use the wildcard generator.
Yeah, good idea. And please keep sending in or sharing your ideas for wildcards. And we'd love to hear from you. Either DM us on Instagram at HDYST Podcast or email us at podcast@britishvoiceover.co.uk.
How do you say that?
Our question this week, because we have Karen, which is a wonderful thing.
It is a wonderful thing.
So, Karen, how can we support and protect our precious voices while we're going into this kind of... Well, there's two things. We're going into a cold and chilly winter season here, at least in the UK.
Yeah, because I don't want to sound like that.
But also, what do we do with all those parties? And
when you've been
big
shouting the
events?
night before, that kind of
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Some of them come up midweek. So there's two things here, really. Is how do you protect your voices from colds and chilliness, but also how do you protect your voice when you're shouting all night at a party? Exactly.
Overexertion. Sounds like you're very good at parties, actually, Mark. Not very bad at parties.
I'm very good at the party. I'm
Very
very
good at parties.
bad at voicing the next day.
Okay, so as we're going forward into winter, it's even more important, I think, just to think about our cosy little voicey chambers inside our throats, making them as comfortable as possible, really.
Oh, so not the booth, our throats.
No, not our booth at all.
Okay.
This is our external chamber, our
Yeah.
booth. But we're thinking about the internal chambers. So
Yes.
thinking about the caverns inside. So our larynx or our voice box needs to be as comfortable as possible. So there's a lot you can do to try and, on a day-to-day basis, protect your larynx and make sure it is as comfortable as possible. There are lots of things that everybody will have heard of before, but I think it's always worth just repeating them,
Yeah,
just
go
so
for
that
it.
we keep them in the front of our minds. I mean, as we're going outside more, it's getting colder, isn't it? The air's changed
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
and some of us feel that very, very keenly. Actually, when we move from the comfort of our little cosy booth to the outdoors, you feel it. And I work with a lot of people who have respiratory problems and voice problems, but particularly with respiratory issues, we've got to remember that the primary function, that the first job of your vocal folds or your vocal cords is to protect your lungs. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
Most of the muscles in your vocal cords are there to make them shut. And we've just evolved them over time to vibrate and be very clever and produce all these noises. But so they're main go-to, if they sense anything's wrong, anything's different, is to shut. The muscles above them start to go into spasm. And
So it
misbehave
closes down to
themselves.
protect your lungs.
It does. That's what it's there for. That's what your vocal folds are there for. So as I say, yeah, most of the muscles are there to do that. And what we need to do is make them feel very happy and very, very comfortable so that they don't go into sentry mode. They don't try and protect you too much while you're trying to use them in this really flexible and complicated hydrated way when we're using our voices.
How do I do that, Karen?
Remember to keep yourself as warm and moist as possible. You want a nice moist situation inside there. So we want to, I keep saying that word in that way, I shouldn't really say that. Okay, so we want to either steam or nebulise. It's up to you. It's up to your preference. There's no one that's better than the other, and the evidence isn't out there to suggest that one is better than the other. Just try both.
Okay.
Just head over a sink of hot water, towel over your head. That's good enough. Make sure there is no menthol in the water, because menthol is an irritant to your respiratory system.
So just ordinary water. Interesting.
Ordinary, bog standard water, because we want moisture directly into your larynx and onto your vocal folds. And when we drink water, it's going down the wrong way, hopefully, unless you have a problem with your swallowing. It's going down the wrong way. So what we need to do is drip feed ourselves, keep hydrated with drink during the day. So drip feed. Don't have a good old pint half an hour before you get into the booth. Make sure you're drip feeding your body all the way through the day, so that from a cellular level you're nice and plump. And make sure that you are getting the moisture directly onto the vocal folds by breathing in the steam. 2 or 3 minutes is enough to do that for you. So keep that going. I would say probably twice a day when you first get up, before you go to bed, and also during the day, just to keep yourself nice and moist inside there, particularly if you're moving in and out of cold and hot temperatures.
It's something I've never done, Karen. So I think that if I do myself a favour for this winter, that's the one thing that I ought to start doing.
I would highly recommend it. It's really, really protecting for you and really soothing. You might find that it's your new go-to, but also it opens your pores. You'll have gorgeous skin.
Gorgeous skin.
Remember, you need to rinse your nose out as well. So you need a nasal douche or a nasal rinse. If you've got a neti pot, those are really good things. So just something to squirt up your nose and for it to drip down or blow out of your nose to make sure you give it a good rinse.
Okay.
We're all about phlegm. Use a scarf over your face when moving between air temperatures. From hot to cold or cold to hot. Use your nose as much as you can. It's a natural warmer and filterer. Look after yourself. When you're eating and drinking, just look after yourself. Hydrate well, eat the right things, and get enough sleep. Keep warm. If you freeze, your frame freezes, so your body freezes, but also your larynx can freeze up as well.
Wow. Never thought of that, I suppose,
Yeah, you've got to think about yourself as a machine. You need to keep it well-oiled and happy. So if you do get a cold or an infection, do not panic. Just remember there's no cure. We need to treat the symptoms. Beware the potential side effects of medications, dryness with antihistamines and decongestants, or irritants with menthol. You can sound hyponasal, so not enough sound coming out of your nose when you do have a cold, and there's nothing you can do about that at all. Nasal douching. Your breathing and your coordination may be affected as well. So I would say the big points here are be honest with clients and be kind to yourself if this happens to you. I would say that all of those points, you can take all of those and apply them to your parties as well. But with your parties, I would say we all know this, but mix up your drink. So if you are drinking alcohol, just make sure you have something non-alcoholic in between, and get yourself a friend just to tap you on the shoulder if you're having too much. Keep yourself well hydrated.
I don't think that's my problem. I think that my problem is that I'm talking too loudly over everyone else to try and be heard in a very loud room, and I think that strains my vocal cords.
Yeah, absolutely you can. We're just not used to doing that anymore. So actually some exercises, but think about it as a performance, actually, because you are raising your voice. Just think about what you would do for a gaming job, for example, or something where you had to use extreme voicing or projection, and think where you're aiming it. So I would say there's not enough time to go into it now, but aim forwards, aim your resonance forward to a target at nose level. So make sure that when you are raising your voice, you're raising it towards your nose and you're not pushing from your throat. If you feel it hurting there, stop. Go somewhere quiet and do a little bit of warming up exercises. So a few a few trills. Trills.
At a party, that's going to be so good.
Nobody will hear you. It's going to be so loud. You can even do a little bit of humming. People will just think you've got your mouth shut.
I used to love doing that behind masks when we were travelling around in COVID. I could do an entire warm up and nobody knew I was doing it.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Think about warming up and warming down after the party. So do some warm up exercises before the party. Warm down exercises afterwards.
And don't be
is
so
probably
drunk
more
that you
important.
don't know.
Don't be so drunk that you
Yes.
pass out.
Exactly.
Oh, Karen, it's top advice, and it really is. I hope that will take us through the season. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
that was amazing.
For all
Thank
of that.
you.
Brilliant. Just a reminder that all of Karen's details can be found in the show notes.
Yes, definitely. And we'll also be putting both of today's scripts in the show notes so you can have a read yourself. And there's the wildcard generator.
Indeed, absolutely, which you can add to. If you enjoy listening, we'd love you to write a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, well, that is it for this week. And thanks again to Karen. And thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you so much for having me.
A font of knowledge.
Absolutely. And we will be back again next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest when we will be asking all together now, how do you say that?
How do you say that?